Now let's take a look at the second part. So this is about creating the polymorphic array. Again, how we did in the previous video, which can hold 10 instances of different breeds of dogs, right? And we have discussed that also, although there are different breeds of dogs, we only need one array to hold them because of the superclass reference property. Instantiate at least two Labrador objects with their unique names and colors, and one Yorkshire object with a name. So instantiate three classes and add their instances to the polymorphic array. And okay, second part we'll see later. So let's try to do this first one over here. We can get rid of this dog speaker class if you want, or we can just create a new class here. Let's call this class as dog list. And this class, it is going to hold an array. Let's say, let's name this array as dogs. And we are said that it can hold 10 dog instances. So let's say new dog 10. So now this array can hold 10 dog references. Now that's a different thing, that each reference can point to a dog or a breed of dog, a subclass. Um, and then we have to add elements to this array. So we need to take care of till which indices is the array filled. So 0 means the current empty index. You can put a value here. And now to this array, we want, sorry, now to this array, we want to add a few dog objects. So let's create a function called add. This add will take a reference of type dog D, and it's going to add that in the array. If you remember, what kind of relationship does this show? So as you see, the dog list is containing dogs, right? And as you have seen, dogs can exist independently of dog list as well. So you can say that it's an aggregation. Anyways, so void add dog D. So dogs of index, in current index, you can place this value D, right? That's all. And then you can do an index plus plus. That's all. I think that's how you can add dogs. And to see that they have been added correctly, you can have a print function. So this print list function, let's say, what it will do is it should print, let's say, the names of all the dogs which are there so far. So I'll say for int I equals to 0, I is less than, I'm going to keep it as index, because that is the place till where the list is populated till now. I plus plus, and we can say system dot out dot println. Uh, so your dog's I, this reference dot, and we had a function called get name. I'm going to add that function here. I think this should work. And now let's see. Let's add dogs to this dog list class and print the list. So we have been asked to add two Labradors and one Yorkshire. So change, let me just change this one to a Labrador. Just to, you can also keep it dog, but just to respect the question. So I'm creating one Labrador, and for Labrador, you also need to pass on the color. One Yorkshire and another Labrador. And then we don't want this. So we have a class dog list. So I'm going to create a list L equals to new dog list. And in L, we now want to add. So if this confuses you, this is actually an object. So you can also say list object. List object dot add. You can add dog, and then let me add L dog, and then let's add Y dog. And then we can call this function called print list on this. So I can say list obj dot print list. Now, since we have written so much of code at once, there is a chance it might show us error. Let's see. Oh, lots of errors. Let's see. So it says that constructor dog in class dog cannot be applied to this type. Right? So as we discussed before, you can do new dog equals to new Labrador, but you cannot do it the other way around. So yeah, this should be dog equals to, and if you're looking forward to create a Labrador, you should write a Labrador here. That is one. So at least one error is resolved. Let's run this again. Now it says cannot find symbol dog list. Maybe something wrong with the class name. In dog list, L is in capital. So we should keep it in capital here. So the point is, do not be scared if you see so many errors in your code. These are just some misspellings or something which can be resolved. Okay, now again, cannot find symbol. So the same thing. L here should be in capital. Okay, I think we are set. Let's run this. So it shows you all the elements in the list. Right, so yeah, first part done. Second part says write a method called let dogs speak that takes the polymorphic array as a parameter. This method should iterate through the array and call the speak method for each dog, printing out the name of the dog and its corresponding sound. So something that we have done before in the first part, the only thing is a new method. It should take an array, this entire array as an argument. Let's see how can we do this. Let me just copy this. So the question is, where do we add this method? So if we add this method right here in, so you can add this method in the dog list class. But if you add this method in the dog list class, the point is you need not pass any list to it, right? Because it already has a data member. So you need not pass that again. So what I'll do is instead of adding this method here, let's make use of this class that we made earlier. So this class that we made earlier, initially it was making only one dog speak. What if we want to pass it an array of dogs and it should make all of them speak? So I think this one is a better candidate for this. So I'm going to call this void let dog speak dog dogs, and yeah, it should iterate over this array. So we can say for int I equals to 0, I is less than, you will see a lot of problem in this particular code. So I'm going to say dogs dot length I plus plus. Now you see dogs dot length is actually 10. When we declared this array, it was declared for 10 dogs. But the point is we have only added 3 dogs to it so far. So 7 of the references are still null. Hence, you cannot access there this d.speak function. So before accessing the function, you should check if, you can say if dogs of I equals to null, then you just continue. Continue means move on to the next place. Otherwise, you do this. Otherwise, system.out.println. I don't think we need this. Instead of d.speak, it should be dogs I.speak. I think that's all. Now, okay, the method is written. The next question is how do you call this method? So this method is in the dog speaker class, and it is what it is taking as an argument. It is taking as an argument a list of dogs which is created in the dog list class. right? I'm just changing this here, this name over here, so that these conflicting names do not confuse you. So instead of dogs, I'm going to call it D-list. So whatever you are copying here gets copied to this D-list. So everywhere I'm making it as D-list. Okay. Now to call this, first of all, we need to make an object of dog speaker. So let's come down. All this is fine. I don't want to print the list. I want to create an object of the class dog speaker s equals to new dog speaker. So we made an object of dog speaker. And now in this object, we need to invoke its function, let dog speak. Let me come down and say s dot let dog speak. And here we need to pass it a list. From where do we get a list? The list is in the dog list object, right? This list object has a list. So I'm going to have this list object here, and this list object has this data member dogs. That is a list. So I'm going to pass that here, dot dogs. So you might need to do this on your own and scroll the code up and down to understand what is happening. So I'll again repeat what we are doing is now we have all the three classes in action here. So this dog test class, so first of all, we have used the classes of various different dogs to create dog objects. Then we created the dog list class to create a list of dogs. And then we are using the dog speaker class and we are passing the list there so that you can print the dogs. So you might see such similar concepts in your projects as well. You'll need to implement these kinds of things. So S dot, uh, I think we are done here. Let's see what do we get. Oh, no error this time. My God, that's great. It rarely happens that the code runs in the first go. Right, so this just works perfectly. Okay, so we are done with all the three parts. However, you need to be careful with one more thing. You see, as we said, usually you might want to keep your attributes as private. If for some reason you make this particular data member as private here, in that case, you won't be able to pass it directly here. You'll have to write a function for this. So just keep that in mind. That's an added point. You can try to do that. So once you make it private, just try to think how will you modify this code. Otherwise, you can just keep it like this and yeah, we are done.